Hi everyone. So today topic is to discuss about lending domain explained for business analysts. So let's understand this one. Okay. So I have mentioned over here that you cannot document what you do not understand. Okay. So let's discuss about this. That why have I mentioned you cannot document what you do not understand. Okay. So in lending domain, the gap between what you document and what you actually understand is the most expensive gap in the entire software industry, right? Because in lending, every requirement that is wrong, incomplete, or misunderstood does not just produce a software bug, but it produces a financial loss as well, or a regulatory violations, right? Or a customer who is approved for a loan they cannot repay, or denied a loan they genuinely deserved, right? So I have spent 10 years in this domain, and I have worked on home loans. Multiple loan products are there, like home loans, personal loans, business loans, buy now pay later loans, KYC platforms, and multiple things are there. Multiple features are there in lending domain. So, and in every project, the BAs who struggled were the ones who did not understand the domain. They document what stakeholders told them without being able to tell the difference between a complete requirement and complete requirements, right? So that's why I mentioned that you cannot document what you do not understand. Now moving on, here is the I have mentioned that what is the lending domain, what is lending domain, so that we need to understand. So let me start with a definition. So I'm not going to tell you the textbook definitions. So I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna mention here the working definitions that shapes how you think about every requirement, and I would say that you will ever document in this domain. Now, lending is the business of giving money to people and businesses who need it today, right? So in exchange for repayment with interest over time, with sufficient confidence that they will pay it back, right? So every single word in that definition matters for a BA. So people and businesses who need it today, what they tell you, that the borrower is in a position of genuine need. Every system you document should serve that need, if efficiently. Unnecessary frictions in the application's journey is not just a bad user experience, it is the commercial failure for the lenders. Now if I talk about the repayments will interest over time. It tells you there is a time dimensions to every lending transactions, right? Like you will find tenure, EMI calculations, part payment handlings, prepayments handlings, foreclosure handlings, maturity closure handlings, reschedulings. All of these comes from this one phase. Now we have the good confidence and sufficient confidence that customers will pay it back. This is the credit decisions. This phrase is the reason for the entire credit decisions infrastructures, the bureau integrations, the that the income verifications systems, the policy rules engines, and all that. Okay, whenever you go for processing the loans, you would find multiple rules and deviations. Definitely you would find it out, and without deviations, I do not think, without deviations, I do not think that any of the loans are being approved. Okay, most of the times what happens that deviations will be there. Now if I talk about the lending ecosystem, so I have mentioned 6 points over here, that lender, bank, NBFCs, borrowers. So who are the borrowers? Like individuals or business needing credits, like they need money, right? Credit bureau, civil expedient. Then we have KYC, identity providers, RBI regulatory, and BA means you are the BA. So if I talk about the first one, that the lender, which is the bank or NBFCs. So this is your primary stakeholder, means this is your primary stakeholder, like commercial bank, like we have multiple bankers, HDFC, ICICI or SBI, private sector banks, and the lender provides the money. They set the credit policies, right, and the rules for who gets approved and who does not. They carry the risk if a borrower does not repay. The lender are regulated by the RBIs, okay, which means every system you document for a lender must must comply with RBI guidelines. This is your most complex and most important stakeholders, because understanding their business, the risk they are trying to manage, the revenue they are trying to generate, the regulatory environment they are operating in is a foundation to being an effective BA in this space, right? Now if I talk about borrowers, like who are needing the money, right, individual or corporate. So the borrower, the customers, individuals or businesses, the end user of every system you document. I want you to hold this in this mind as you work, okay? So behind every requirement you write, there is a real person in a position of genuine financial need, right? So standing over the borrower experiences, their anxiety during the applications, their frustrations with verifications, delays, their relief when they see the approval message makes you a better BA, because it makes you question every friction point in the journey you are documenting. Now if I talk about the civilian experience, so the credit bureau, civil experience, and CRIF, high mark, all operate in India. They hold the credit history of every individual and businesses that has ever taken a loan, okay? So it records every history of the individual and businesses, okay? So based on that also the loan is being approved. As a BA, you will document the entire API interactions, okay, the request parameters, the response fields, that what each field means, and how the system interprets the score, how it handles every error response. This is one of your most technically right, precise delivers. Now if I talk about the KYC identity provider, so here also KYC and identity providers, like we have NSDL, we have for PAN verifications, we have UIDAI for Aadhaar verifications, we have DigiLockers and all that, okay? So each of these is a separate API integration, so that the BA must document completely. Now if I talk about the RBI regulatory, so the Reserve Bank of India, Indian lending happens under the RBI regulatory umbrella, because we have to take care of them, and we have to comply the regulatories, otherwise there will be question mark, right? Now if I talk about the BA, so what the BA does, so the business analyst, the person who documents every interaction between all these players with sufficient precision, that developers can build system that serve borrowers, generate revenue for lenders, and comply with every RBI regulations all simultaneously. So you have to look after everything, you have to work very carefully, and you have to document very carefully, right? Now here I have mentioned 6 loan products every lending BA must know, right? So these are the common products which are being used commonly, and usually these are the products which are being being used always, like home loans, personal loans, business loans, buy now pay later loans, auto loans, and education loan, right? So if I talk about the home loans, so home loans are the most complex loan product to document, I would say, not because they are the largest, although they are, but because they involve physical assets and property, which has its own legal history, valuations, methodology, and a regulatory framework. And as a BA on a home loan system, you will document several things that you will not consider in any I would say other product. You will have to check loan to values. The RBI mandates specific, like loan to value limits based on the loan amount. And for loans up to 30 lakhs, loan to value can go up to 90%. For loans above 75 lakhs, like based on the percentage you go for loan to value, LTV cannot exceed 75%. Okay, you document the calculations, logic, and every exceptions. If I talk about the property valuations rules, so which you impaneled, how they submit reports, what the revenue process is, how the bank handles discrepancies between two valuations. There could be legal title verifications, or to establish clear title, what constitutes a negative title, how the system handles under constructions versus ready to move property. Okay, so these are the things which comes under home loan products. Okay, so we should know about the home loan products. If we have the basic knowledge about the home loan products, then it is very simple to work upon home loan products. And if you get the requirements, then you will understand. So you should have the practical knowledge, right? You should connect the requirement, that how business, you should understand the requirement, how the business is asking, and what you need to document, and how you need to check the feasibility in the system. Now if I talk about the personal loan, so we all know that what is personal loan. So the most dynamic and digitally innovative product in the lending domain, in the lending market right now, completely unsecured. The entire credit decision is based on the credit worthiness, right, of the individual, or no collateral at all. Means there we do not take the collaterals. It is unsecured product, and this is the product where the most investment in technology is happening. What happens that instant approval happens, fully digital journeys. Okay, and also AI driven credit decisions are there. As a BA, you will document the bureau integrations, the income verifications methodology, the credit policy rules engine. So multiple things are there. Now if I talk about product 3, which is business loan. So when a business needs money, the credit inputs are fundamentally different. Like GST returns shows revenue patterns, income tax returns show profitability, bank statements shows cash flow. For manufacturing businesses, inventory and data cycles matter. For service business, contact receivables matters. So these are the things which are if you have the basic ideas of each and every product, then definitely you will able to relate, you will able to build the system, you will able to documents. Now if I talk about buy now pay later, so this is the I think it and newest, I would say, and fastest growing product category in India. Micro credit delivered at the point of purchase on a e-commerce platform. Very small ticket size, sometimes as low as a few hundred rupees. Very large transactions volume. Buy now pay later, multiple things are there, that today you are taking on the loan, and for 30 days you will not have to pay any interest, and when 30 days gets completed, then you will have to pay the interest. So you have the 30 days. If you want to return within the 30 days, on the day 30 days is being completed, same day if you return, then there will be no charges. This features are there, buy now pay later. So it's a very good product. And let's talk about the auto loans a little bit. So it's a asset backed lending against a vehicle. Unique requirements around vehicle valuations, market value versus based conditions assessment, insurance policy linkage. The vehicle must be insured, and the lender must be named as an interested party. RTO hypothecations. So these are the things which comes under auto loans. Okay, So now if I talk about the education loans, like those who are studying, they need financial support. So by the time what happens that they go for applying the loans, and they get the loans, and there they get the facilities as well. Okay, so this is what about all the products, like home loans, personal loans, and business loan, buy now pay later, auto loans, and education loans. So multiple things are there which we need to understand and which we need to take care of at the time of documenting something, or at the time of taking the requirements from the customers, and we need to understand them, right? So moving on, and I have mentioned here the KD decisions process, right? So these are the things which I thought that I should put it. So at the time of KD decisions, so these are the things which happens. I have mentioned little bit in the process, like an application capture, KYC verifications, bureau check, income analysis, policy rules, and then offer plus disbursement. Okay, so what the BA documents are at every step, like field verifications, API specs, decisions, rules, error scenarios. So while running these steps, okay, these are the steps behind this multiple what happens that logics are running, which I would say that BA might have already written the documents, or BA is supposed to write when they are building the new systems and all that, right? Now moving on, KYC and compliance, the BA responsibilities. So these are the which I discussed, like Aadhaar KYCs, video KYCs, PAN verifications, anti-money laundry concepts. So these are the concepts which we take care of them, and we have something we must understand, like RBI regulations, every lending BA must know. So like first one, digital lending guidelines. Okay, so we have to check the digital lending guidelines, that what they RBI says. Okay, based on that our system should function. Then we have fair practice code, so it should be very transparent when you are disbursing the loan, and when, by what time you are charging, from when you are taking the interest from the customers and all that. Okay, so then KYC master directions, we have credit informations, companies in rows. Then we have NBFC's master directions. So we must understand about them. These are the very 5 points which I have mentioned, but there could be more. Then we have what a lending BA produces, the deliverables. So these are the things which I have mentioned, that credit policy documents, API integrations, specs, right? The process flow diagrams and all that. Okay, compliance checklists. So I have mentioned that certain things are there. I mentioned something, that 5 lending domains questions you will be asked at the time of interview, definitely. So here I have mentioned that what is FIRE and how does it affect loan is eligibility, right? So these things you should know, and you should know the calculations as well. Okay, the FIRE calculations. Then we have what is the difference between a secured and unsecured loan from a BA perspective. So as I mentioned that personal loan is unsecured, personal product is unsecured, and we have home loan, that is the secured one. So this is, we should understand that the difference between secured and unsecured loans. What is cooling off period, and why must BA know about it? So you should know the RBI mandates a period after loan sanctions, during which the borrower can cancel without penalty and all that. So these are the things which we should know. What is the account aggregators framework? So we have no account aggregator frameworks, that also we should understand, and we should work have the basic knowledge. What happens when a bureau returns no hit, right? So no credit history found for this customer, BA must document the new to credit handling logic. Does the lender reject? Okay, so these are the things which we should understand, we should implement the logic, right? So how to build learning domain knowledge starting today. So I would say that you should have these 5 things in your mind. The read RBI master directions or digital learning guidelines. Okay, it is available on websites. Apply for a real loan products, like if you want to understand how banks and NBFCs are working, so you could go for applying the loans. And if you go for applying the loans, then definitely you will be speaking to customer services, and so that they will tell you something about the products, and they will make you understand that these are the things which are required, and these are the verifications which will be happening, and by what time you will get money and all that. So you will understand the business logic, and you will understand the process, and how digital learning app works and all that. Okay, read one fintech products. You have to read the fintech products, and if you read them, then definitely you would come to know about this, right? Watch every video in the Fintech BA learning domains series. So definitely, like how loan processing happens, okay, loan management and collections and all that. Write one link post per week about what you learned. Okay, so I would say that when you are trying to learn you know the learning domain, so whatever you understand, okay, just put it on LinkedIn or somewhere else, so that what will happen, that definitely you are sharing your knowledge, so other people, they might get benefit while reading, and they may improve the knowledge, right? So that's all about it, I would say. And this topic, and if you have any questions related to this topic, then I would request you, please put the comment, and so that I would take that question, and I would respond to that question. So that's all about it, and I would request you, please subscribe this channel, the Fintech BA channel, so you will be getting the notifications whenever a new video is being uploaded, and you would be updated about the learning domain. So that's all about it. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.